Okay. I was gonna say I already have, but I haven't. So
Oh, I did it already.
did it. I usually do it already. Have it.
Oh, it's all good. All right. Looks like we are being live streamed. All right, let me switch into speaker view. All right. And hello, everybody. I am Kat Udero, psychic empath and psychic wrangler. And you've already seen a little shot there of who I've wrangled into today's show. Welcome to Third Eye Salon, where in each and every week we take a fresh and a deep look between the veils of reality. And today we're doing that with the amazing Viviane Chauvet. We just had this incredible pre-show chat, which luckily was recorded. So maybe we'll be sharing that out at some time. But we're exploring the work and the journey of Arcturian Viviane Chauvet. So this is very exciting. And before we say hello to Vivian officially here, let's say hello to my friend, psychic and conscious business coach, co-hostess with the mostest, Linda Coulter Birch. How are you? I love you.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited to hear Vivian's wisdom that she's bringing forward. And I know, like I keep hearing life-changing for some people that are watching, that it's that important. So, as always, I am your live stream chat host. And as always, my policy is play nice or get out. This is an environment to be safe. And if you can't do that, this probably isn't the right one for you, because we want to support each other, ask lots of questions. Remember, you can ask questions. This is live for Vivian throughout this show. Just type them in the little chat and we'll do our very best to get them all answered. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so other people can find our wonderful show. We appreciate so much when you do that. If you can't watch it here, then you can also find us on Apple and Spotify. So make sure that you check us out there if you can't hear. And for those of you who have bought us coffees and donated to Third Eye Salon, thank you. Without you, it makes it a lot more difficult to bring this show forward. So we appreciate it. We don't do advertising. And if you haven't, join our Facebook group, because we will often continue the conversation there. So that is Third Eye Salon on Facebook. With that, hello, Vivian. We're so excited to have you as our guest this week.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Linda. Thank you also, Angela. It's wonderful to be here. I am excited. I know that this time together is very synchronized, and I know we have to shift in space and time, our time together, and here we are. So I am really happy to be in all of your space, your energy, and all the sharing we're going to have together today.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I'll also say hello to Miss Angela Anderson. I was like meditating there on what Vivian was saying. So Angela is an artist. She's a builder of custom motorcycles, a former software engineer, shaman, and going to be an owner of a new home soon. How are you, Angela?
I'm doing well this morning. I'm excited for the conversation. Vivian has such a wealth of knowledge, Arcturian healing modalities, and I'm just anxious to get into the conversation. I have a couple of questions that I'm really anxious to ask and following with the conversation. But yeah, I'm excited to get to it today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angela. Yeah. And let's so give us a thumbs up though if you are excited too to hear about Vivian's work as an Arcturian, assisting the ascension process and what's going on. It's going to be a good one. So give us a thumbs up, give us some love. And I'm going to read through Vivian's bio. The full bio is below, but this is for people who don't know who Vivian is. This will give you a little bit of a snapshot. Originally from Canada, Viviane Chauvet is an international public speaker recognized for her work as an advanced Arcturian hybrid avatar in a human projected form. Vivian's healing practice and teachings inspire people to live in universal consciousness as sovereign divine beings. She specializes in multidimensional frequency healing, conscious channeling, soul matrix healing, and holographic body template upgrade. And if you have any questions about those things, put those in the comments. In 2013, Vivian launched her company, Infinite Healing from the Stars, and did thousands of healing sessions with clients worldwide. In 2022, Vivian joined the Wish Alliance as an ambassador and emissary. She also serves as an emissary for the intergalactic councils and other star delegations. The Arcturians genetically engineered Vivian as a unique hybrid prototype. Her healing abilities are encoded at a DNA level to create a quantum shift in the Earth's matrix grids. This work restores the original divine blueprint that heals fragmented realities for light body ascension. That is such a big sentence. Heals fragmented realities for light body ascension. After moving to Arizona in 2006, Vivian went through a series of profound awakenings and energetic downloads. Over several years, the Arcturians have trained Vivian in holographic and intergalactic frequency healing arts. She pursued her studies with many teachers and became certified in crystalline soul healing, unity field healing, soul genesis, theta healing, BQH, and QHHT. Through her work, Vivian has developed the Arcturian energy matrix healing modality to achieve conscious soul unification beyond the third dimensional matrix reality. Wow. So see the rest of her bio in the description box below. But yeah, give us a thumbs up if you're excited to hear more about what's going on with Vivian and our collective healing. So Vivian, if you would just kind of kick us off. I know you've talked about this before, but if you can kind of help translate to people you're coming into the planet as an Arcturian, because people are, it's like, I'm an Arcturian, I have Arcturian DNA, but your story is a bit different where your biological father is Arcturian. And how did that come about in being? How can you be here as a hybrid in that degree? Don't they struggle? Don't they have a hard time? So kind of give us your breakdown on you coming in as kind of a biracial galactic being in a way.
Gladly, Kat. Thank you so much again for having me and for reading an aspect of my my bio. How I came about, it's very much an endeavor of love and devotion to really support the Earth, Terra, as it is known, and an entire civilization on the midst of a golden opportunity to return to a more universal divine aspect of themselves, to bring the Earth back into her original blueprint and helping souls to evolve beyond the incarnation wheels and the entrapment of the false 3D matrix reality. So I want to really reinforce that it is truly an endeavor of love. That's the motivation behind all of this. And you are correct. There are many different forms of Arcturian beings on the planet, like there are Pleiadians, Syrian, Lyrans, and others. But in my case, what is different is that instead of projecting a soul aspect of myself and reincarnate into an earth human form with maybe some add-on of DNA to support their soul mission. Sometimes we have stories where the woman carried a child and in her womb she get, I'm talking about the enlightened intergalactic ones, more like they come and they support their people that way when they're going to have some genetic strand to support the soul mission. But the foundational of their body template is very much the union of two humans, so they can have a physical anchor to the planet and be much more adapted to be able to navigate to this 3D density of personality matrix reality type. So in my case, I said I would like to bring into the next level and bring into the planet in a so-called physical form the highest level of Arcturian frequencies and consciousness possible, and still be able to be functioning here in this density. So because what you said earlier, Kat, is true, Arcturian being we're unable to be physically on this planet. We can't be here. We're going to project our holographic aspect of ourselves, yes. But be physically 24 hours a day living a life on this planet, it's impossible. It's way too dense. So what we have done is we have created a very beautiful project of collaboration with other souls from a very specific genetic line that is now my family here on this earth. And we have to see that It took many generations of perfecting the gene codes, the perfect DNA that will be able to be incorporated into my holographic matrix to create this vessel. So, you know, it's been a very long time project, and that's something that took, you know, just say, hey, I want to be coming back on the earth. I want to reincarnate. Can we bring my soul in alignment? I'll choose my life. I'll choose all the qualities of what my life's going to look like, the parents, the cultural background, and I'm going to reincarnate. In my case, the project has been more exhaustive. So working with our councils of light, our councils of elders, collaboration with the souls who will be involved with it. It's, again, an endeavor of love, collaboration, partnership, and how I came about to be here today. So why doing all of this? It's because we knew that the Earth had entered the most potential organic timeline of her ascension. And so I volunteered from the High Council to be here on the planet as a direct Incor, a physical, etheric, holographic, and all of the above Incor for the Earth and the stabilization of the timeline. And so Arcturians are millions of years old. They're known as one of the most advanced intergalactic civilizations. So we have different forms of very advanced conscious technology that can allow us to create a very unique vessel that just appear as physical as you, solid. You can touch my hand, shake my hand, give me a hug. I eat, I sleep, I do all 9 yards. But at the same time, I'm here on the planet and I'm not at the same time. So the uniqueness of the complexity is that in reality, my physical form is like a very form of advanced hologram. It's a holographic template that is capable of supporting biosystem, organs, systems, the whole 9 yards. And then what I did is I entered my consciousness, an aspect of my Arcturian avatar, projected an aspect of myself in this holographic vessel. And then from there, it was perfected with our technology, and I was brought back to the planet this way. So I was not born on the planet, I was introduced to the planet. That's the difference. I have no genetic memories of going to the birth canal and all of this. It's just, I didn't need to do that. I went through another system, another way to do that. Do I have a human mother? Yes, I do. I have a family here on Earth, absolutely, because they're all part of these very beautiful advanced souls who have agreed to work with us and to create this amazing opportunity. And believe me, it goes both ways. And what I mean by that is that how much we're helping you, we're also learning a lot from the Earth human. We're also learning a lot from the other star groups who are here. We're learning a lot from this overall process that is extraordinary. So there's a beautiful exchange in that way, if that makes sense. And you feel in your heart.
Yeah, I feel I'm tracking with you, and I'm feeling like you have a biological father as well, right?
Yes.
So to me it feels like your soul, it's like your biological parents provided the genetic configuration for the holographic projection of the Arcturian being into the body. So it's like the parents created an opening with a DNA alignment, and then that was allowed the soul to project and occupy the form. Is that correct?
Thank you for that. More or less.
Okay.
Allow me to add another layer. I know it's complex.
Okay.
That's something.
It is. It's fascinating.
Yes, and I'll give you some example to really anchor this. It's just another level of reality. And it's just something ancient when we talk about. This is something that's been coexisting for a long time, but this has been something that's been rediscovering now. So yes, I do have a biologic, let me rephrase that. I do have my human father and my human parents here. My human dad is the one who raised me on the planet, but I don't carry his genetic material.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the difference here. So there will be some extract. I needed some base extract of human DNA, Earth-based DNA, from my mother, who is also very an advanced soul. And from there, that's where the holographic template, we call it the matrix of life.
Okay.
And we utilize those complex systems to bring souls in a very specific way, depending on their level of evolution and what they need to experience. So this is why I said, yes, I do have my parents on this earth. So I always says yes, I know, I need to go back in human terms. That's what they're telling me. I have two fathers and a mom, if you want to look at it this way, okay? And after time, here's the fun thing. My Arcturian father communicate with my earth father constantly, my dad. And so when they feel like I'm not listening too much because I'm very busy with my mission, phone ring, my dad calls. Well, he called it a tall one. The tall one came and he has a message for you. I'm like, oh, I'm not listening to father. Okay. And then he will talk to me. So there's a beautiful conscious partnership that exists even to this day. And this is what it's unique about me, is that it has nothing to do with, well, the parents got unconscious, lost time of 8 hours, and then they came back and then something happened. And then through regression, they're going to remember. For us, it's all the open because it's part of the agreements. We communicate with each other. It's still happening to this day. Oh, they came. The team came, or the tall one came. And then we have a conversation. They show me some things. And then they will protect them as much as they're guiding me and protect me. Because it's a soul group agreement. We're in this together. You see the refinement here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Abin,
I
Angela,
have a question.
or Linda. Sorry,
Yep.
whoever.
Mine's fairly brief. Were you always aware of who you were? And if not, when did that come about and how?
Yes, absolutely. Great question, Linda. I would say yes, on an unconscious level as an infant, yes. But from a conscious level, I came about my state of beingness, I would say between 4 and 5. I use 5 as a marker in time because I can consciously go back at that point. And I could remember conversation, about me, or feeling thoughts of others, analyzing this reality, and also pointing out what was off to feel like, why is this moving this way? When if we shifted and we corrected this angle, it will work much better. And then my group, my star family would say, well, now you are experiencing an earth human life, and where you are at a conjunction of time, let's say in the early 80s, well, it was a time of great confusion and mixed up, and there was a lot of, energy coming, very conflicting energy that we were watching. So I was observing these conflicted energy pulling out in terms of archetypes, patterns, in people, adults, children, and all aspects. So long story short, yes.
Thank you.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Okay, so my question is this. Since the genetic line was so refined, did you not have to work through, say, traumas and blocks and things like that, the fragmentation that humans experience, having to realign to the true self? Did you not have to go through that process?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I chose to, and I'll tell you why, to a certain degree. So yes, you are correct, Angela. And my aspect of myself as an Arcturian being, there was no need for me to learn from this process.
Right.
What I did is that from a human experience perspective, then I chose certain patterns to be able to understand better what a true mechanism of clearing, fragmentation, limiting belief pattern, like, for example, feeling rejected. Okay, feeling rejected, labeled, feeling like left out, all of these emotions. I am highly empathic. So I have an ability to project a soul aspect of myself in somebody's reality just to feel what is this person or this situation is about. And then I do it without any intrusion. It's simply a state of observation. The higher self is always aware. And I come back in this point, I said, oh, I truly know how you feel. When I said that, it's because I mean it with my being. It's not a mental acknowledgement. Oh, I know how you feel. No, I do know how you feel. So to some degree, I went through levels. Even to this day, I am highly empathic. My heart center is super open, and I know that. So sometimes I can feel like, oh, that one was hurtful. Okay, let me back into my Arcturian self. I'm going to clear that up. So you see the subtlety of how I chose to do experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had your mom was very supportive because she was aware the entire time. Yeah. So you never had to battle with not being understood, at least within your household, but you had to face that outside of the household. How were you able to handle that as an advanced? So the reason I'm asking is because I recently had a session with a friend whose son has recently been diagnosed as autistic, and he's just advanced. He thinks differently. And during that session, what happened was I was able to tap into him. And so it was like we had this telepathic conversation. And his reason or rationale for acting out is because nobody could hear him. Nobody was able to understand him. He was frustrated because people aren't able to communicate with him in the way that he communicates, in the way that he receives from the world. And it's an intense point of frustration. And on top of that, he feels like he's being stuffed in a box. So not only has he been stuffed into human form, right? He's further in a new school being stuffed into another box of conformity that says you have to behave in this way. So I'm curious to know what your experience was as a child in this regard. And on top of that, what would be your encouragement to a parent of an advanced soul in this fashion? Yeah.
Oh my God, bless that soul. Absolutely. I honor so much those advanced souls who have already reached a level of mastery and volunteer to come back in a contracted form in these density, what we call the personality matrix on the third dimensional earth. So I bless them very much. So the huge difference with me, and it's been my saving grace in that sense, is that I did not come back into a human physical template form like he did, or many other souls like this child have. I came in through a very specific body template to prevent that, to allow me to stay in that state of presence, a state of connection, and still experience aspect of here. I have a lot of coaching. Since imagine a 5-year-old in a kindergarten. Okay, imagine that for a moment. I'm there and I'm observing the scene of how children behaves and what a teacher says. To me, it is highly illogical.
Yeah.
Okay. It makes no sense. Why are you forcing me to work with plastic blocks that are meaningless? Okay. So, but I would not say out loud. I would be in a telepathic communication with my group who will coach me. Says, just play along, learn how our children learns to develop. Just see them from a point of compassion, feel their hearts. So this is why I really learned to open my heart center such at a young age, to be able to have this true empathic response to my environment. And so teacher will come and says, Vivian, you're not like the other children. And I will smile. I thank you. And I say, now can I go paint? Yes, you go paint. And I will paint in my own way. Abstract things that make no sense to anybody else, but to me, it's an expression. If I was forced to go do something like playing with doll that was completely, to me, out of paradigm, I would just sit there, put them on the floor and says, what am I supposed to do with that? And they say, play. Well, let's play. To have fun. What is fun? And they go, let's just go back to painting. Okay, I go back to painting. So I was navigating through realities in a very different way. And I got accustomed to be able to get certain response. And sometime once in a while, I would came across a teacher who was more open consciously and would be able to appreciate who I was in my expression. And being able to, and that was a perfect, fantastic semester or year. But otherwise, I receive because of who I am. You have to think that I am in a constant flow of this beautiful holographic communication where my group talk with me and I group with them and I can feel our starship. I can feel their presence all the time. So I have that since the get-go. And being able to navigate and understanding will tell me, if you learn, it's going to allow you to connect more, to be able to understand the process. And so when I encounter other children who were more advanced, then I would go and reach out to them, connect to them. And those who felt left behind, or they were repressed at home or repressed in their expression, I would reach out to them as well. Whether they welcome it or not, it's up to them. So this is a huge difference. So imagine the same soul, this beautiful advanced child in the soul level, coming back into a form that allow a more higher expression and flow of communication, and being able to have the guidance how to navigate through these boxes of realities would make a whole difference in the way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does in my world.
It does. Yeah, it does.
I hope that answers the question for you, Angela.
Yeah, it does. How would you encourage a parent of a child in that way? How would you advise that parent?
First thing I would say, open your heart, feel your soul, feel your child's essence, understand who your child is. It may look like he or she, may look like a 5-year-old or 7, 8, whatever age, but in reality, it's just understand that you're looking at a very advanced soul and feel that how much privilege you are to bring, that you are the parents, the conduit to bring such a higher level of soul energy, mastery, frequencies. Help them to adjust your communication of how you communicate to your child. Instead of categorizing a child with labels and forcing to fit certain narratives, allow the child to say, how can I support you? And then I'm going to be open to bring the support system that allow the child to stabilize first. Let's bring stability. Let's bring the child back to that sacred point of neutrality of expression and just attune yourself. Your child is unique. Embrace your child or your children. You may have 1, 2, 3 at home of different level of consciousness. And this is what we do back in Arcturus, is that when a child come or a new soul come to us, we nurture the soul for who they are and says, how can we provide a support system that will allow that soul or that being to reach their fullest potential, as opposed to repress them to fit in a certain category. The child is unique like you. It's just in a different way. It's about opening up your heart to it, right?
Yes, nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to tag on to that just as a something I've witnessed over and over again. There's an amazing group where I came from called Hearts for Horses, and they specialize in working with children that are on all kinds of spectrums, whether it's physical or in the autistic, whatever label there is, and just having them work with horses, because horses work at that level of energetically, intuitively working with the children. A lot of times they just open up and in being able to just have that experience with something that can communicate with them at that level. So if you have that ability in your area, I highly recommend that you give that offering to your children.
Absolutely. Horses are a magnificent advanced being. It's just in a form that you recognize them as horses, but they're extremely advanced being. And nature, connecting with Gaia, animal, trees, allowing that other form of expression. It's so wonderful.
I wanted to talk about the holographic body upgrade, the work that you do, because I feel like, we're talking about this conversation of, coming into a body, and kids, who are advanced beings being in a body that does not, I mean, it's a challenge that they've agreed to on some level for sure, but at the same time, you know, what we don't have to just be in these limitations. There's limitations are meant to be overcome. And I'm just thinking about your work with the holographic body upgrade and how that impacts us in terms of our ability to be here. And then the two other things, like these things all feel connected. Then the extraction of the fear paradigm and our biocomputers crashing due to upgrades. Like all of this feels like it's connected, because I feel like if we have a holographic body upgrade, then we're less likely to have a crash and we're more prepared for the frequencies coming in. But would you speak to what your experiences of that and how that works for you, what you see, what you're doing, why it's important?
No, absolutely. That's a really critical point you just brought up, because the body template, the human body template, I'll call your body, what we call it a template, as a holistic intelligence system, it is made to be adaptable and shifting. So as the Earth is shifting out of a third dimensional density, what we call the lower matrix reality, personality matrix, more functioning on instinct and pre-programming, limiting belief systems, your body is also shifting itself to be able to become more clearer conduit for these frequencies. So for example, when we work with a client, whether it's of all ages, it doesn't matter, we look at the body template and it has a holographic template of light, and we can see where there are opportunities of restriction, restricted growth, and there's anything that the body still carry, what we call the body memory field or the abstract field. There's a lot of history there, and we can clear that to all the timeline that is associated and what is really preventing the physical body as a conduit to advance, to become more luminous. And we all heard about, moving back into a more universal time matrix, but that requires right here foundational work and to nurture your roots, opening the field, clearing the memories that you may be carrying. Your body has such an ability to absorb and hold all the memories, even at a subtle level. You thought, I did all this work already. I heard that people come to me, oh, I know there is to know. I've done all this work already. What else do you have? You're like, okay, let's see what your body has to say. And I'm like, well, did you know that between your abstract field and the holographic template, we have found these layers? Oh, I did not know. Of course, we're here to help. And then what we do is that we clear that. So because even though the 3D Earth human appears so solid when the muscles and the bone structures and all the organs, the body fluid, in reality, there's so much space in the body. So we work with helping the body memory to go back to a higher template, a higher blueprint of memories that allow the body to evolve alongside with you as a divine consciousness, as a divine essence of light. So this way it prevents, number one, disconnect from the body, conjunction into what I call the funnel effect, where people are so into the upper chakras and the universal chakras that the lower chakra become congested. So it can result into digestive issues, lower back pain, legs, sciatic nerves blocking, the feet is not circulating, ankles swollen, things like that. You have to look at that. You allow your body to be a universal flow of energies. It is the same thing with the brain state and the brain waves, where you are shifting, opening to your higher mental faculties. You're getting out of the egoic mind and you start to bring in those higher mental faculties. That is also opening your gateways of light, attuning your internal nervous systems as gateways of universal light. So when you look at just the nervous system itself, the entire system, we can see how it is wired and where there is opportunity to simply repattern those wires to allow a greater flow of universal communication. And this is also how you open yourself to communicate with advanced, spiritually based intergalactic groups, for example, or beings of light of higher consciousness. So there's a lot of opportunity that we can do, and especially right now, everyone, especially right now, we are shifting into another wave of awakening coming through to the planet. There's more solar energy coming in. There's a lot of shift in the frequencies. So allow your body template, even at its foundational base, to upgrade. Let it flow. Be open to it. And allow yourself to say, I know what I know, and yet I am teachable, and I remain open. Because that's something I see a little bit in the UFO and the spiritual community. Oh, I listen to all these channels. I know what's going on. You know what is presented to you. That's a difference, right?
Gosh, that's so well said. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I have a question on a very practical level for us. What types of modalities, exercises, things can we do to help bring that alignment into place?
Yes, great question as well. Modality does many ways. When you work with us through our Arcturian energy matrix healing, that's where we can see where is your original blueprint, what is the resonance of your soul synchronicity, and we're helping you to return to that point. So it helps to be a better effective communicator, being able to activate your own channel, your gift, who you are, understanding your purpose here, understanding how you navigate in practical way on this earth, but without feeling that you're part of these mental and emotional entrapments. There's a difference. There's a way to navigate in practical way on this earth in parallel to the changes, as opposed to be all entangled in that ball that many people wants to shift out from. So that's number one. Number two, one of the things I love is many years ago when I became a coach and mentor with the HeartMath Institute of California, one of the takeaway for me personally, and I teach that a lot for clients, is their heart-focused breathing technique, when in reality, you're allowing yourself to get out of the congestion of the mental field, and you're allowing yourself to redirect the flow of your breath to the sacred gateway of your heart. And you consciously open the torus field of your heart that is so intelligent, potent, high frequencies, and allow yourself to build more resilience, clear the lower mind, center yourself back into your own vibration, who you are. Are you able to hear the pulse of your heart? Are you asking your heart, how can I serve you? What do you need? Do you feel your feet? Do you feel your sacred roots opening? I also use to visualize like an inner sacred tree. I call it the galactic tree of knowledge. When you are present with the planet and to the planet, and at the same time, you're allowing this beautiful infinite expansion. It's where you become also open, balanced, present. Where are you investing your energy the most to every day? What are you feeling? Are you feeling all these narratives intermingling with information, galactic history? Who's the next big spiritual teachers? Or are you present to your inner universe? Are you understanding more who you really are? Expressing your potential. So breathe to your heart. Ask, feel you're opening the sacred gateway of your heart. Imagine breathing in light to your heart, and you expanding to the gateway of your heart this light, expanding those frequencies of light around you. And then you can ask question, because the quality of your question will attract the quality of the answers.
Well, yeah, it's like and the quality of where you're asking it from, right? I mean, it's like if you're asking out of fear, like when I'll do readings with Linda will do pendulum work with me, and a lot of times it's like ask a different question because the question is based on something the ego is perceiving versus what the heart needs to hear or what the life is asking for. I wanted to talk to you. I'm sorry, we were going to say.
No, I simply agree with you. I always tell clients, what aspect of you are you asking me this question from today? They go, oh, I didn't think about that. It's a good point.
Oh, nice.
I have a question to kind of piggyback off of what was just spoken about, the body itself. But when I first had my first major shift, I like went vegetarian like the very next day. And I've never craved meat since. And this has been years ago, right? In any form. It was like overnight, literally overnight, that I went vegetarian. And I've seen that kind of shift from raw to different forms, but it still remained vegetarian. Now I have other friends who are high frequency, they're tapped in, but they are carnivores to the heart, right? They aren't even conscious about what they eat, really. And I'm curious to know to what degree does diet play a role in your expansion or your ability to tap in? Is it personal or does it fluctuate? Does it change over time, or is that just unique to the individual?
I love this. I absolutely love this. You speak my language, Angela.
Yeah.
You really
That's
do.
why I was so excited to ask you these questions, because I'm like, if anybody would be able to answer them, it would be you. So yeah.
I will answer the way that I was taught over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So the body template, the original Earth human, was never designed to ingest the flesh of an animal or another being. This is a concept that was introduced to the planet, and even genetically, when other groups, let's just call it this way, or we call them the counterforce, to be keeping positive energy. The counterforce came and implemented other aspect and activate the lower aspect of the brain that we know as the reptilian brain, and all these instinctual energies. There's many, even though high spiritual being people go meditate and they communicate with intergalactics or angel, they still have a hook, what I call it. You still have a root, a hook into this 3D dimension because you feel or you think that your body needs this density of meat to maintain that connection. So my invitation will be to see where is the disconnect between the higher part of you and the primal part of you. And I say that very with much love as an opportunity, maybe to reach the next level of evolution. Angela, to your observation, I went through exactly what you went through over 25 years ago, when overnight my team came, opened my third eye, I tapped into certain archives, and they made me realize certain things about how our things are functioning here, especially in regards to food and the animal kingdom. And I went into a profound awakening through the heart center, where this aspect of my being came through, and I shifted on a dime, just like you. I shifted on a dime. It's been over 25 years, never, ever any craving of any kind. My body has adapted. I became much more sensitive, attuned. Now, some school of teaching and belief system on the planet will tell you, well, that's fine for you. What is your blood type? And we go, our loving recommendation is to go beyond the blood type, because it's also associated with certain groups that wants to keep you in their own paradigm of reality. We transcend the blood type. It's more in terms of who you are in the consciousness, how you're allowing your physical body to shift significantly. You want to reach the light body ascension? Many people want to say, I want to bring my body with me when I transform back into the light. In order to do so, you need to cut the cord to that 3D belief system that you have to ingest heavy level of meat, flesh coming from another being in order to be protein efficient and have muscles and being able to do what you do. That's, I would say, for when we look in terms of the future timeline, that's the next step for humanity. That's the next step. And that's going to heal profound wound that also in reality wound you. You hurt your own self and your heart because there's a disconnect with life, and that needs to be repaired. That needs to be repaired. I hope that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. Thank you.
I like that. That was a great question and great exploration. Because I've heard the whole thing that eventually our evolution is vegan. At the same time, I would want to honor people in their evolution of that. And if you're I say tap into your body elemental, learn how to listen to your body elemental and be like, what is your body saying to you? Is it saying, you know, where you're at in that ladder of evolution. Because if you try to force anything, it will work against you. So work with your body, and don't try to impose something because, you know, it's bad to eat meat. Like don't don't operate out of judgment, operate out of connection. So
this is how we'll eventually get to the point of being breatharian, right? Because I mean, food essentially is the middleman, and we can extract everything from the air, from the air itself, from the ether itself, from the field itself. So yeah, this is part of the process, is how I see it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just a process, again, with honor, love, and we send everybody love for sure, everywhere.
I wanted to talk about the extraction of fear on the planet, because man, I was somebody, I've gone through my own journey in the last year where I was like, I'm living 5D life, la 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 la, but I had this huge wound that I had kind of plastered over, and it, you know, blew up in my face in the most dramatic of ways, but it hit my core. It hit a core wound of one of my deepest fears, and then like that was the whole point, right? I mean, that's the whole point, is like any point of disconnection, any point of where fear has the power, like that's going to be brought up. And so you own your power, you become a sovereign being, because you can't entertain fear and be a sovereign being at the same moment. You got to choose where you're, you know, aligned, and there's no judgment. It's an evolution. But I want you to talk about the extraction of fear, because I feel like we're talking about these waves coming and how our bodies are reacting, and these upgrades to our body, and that we, you know, it's not just clean up your thoughts. It's like you have to go in and do this core work that if it's still there for you to do, it's unavoidable. And I feel like the extraction of fear is part of that. It's like anything that is what you're, and I want you to speak to that, what you mean about that, because I'm kind of putting my definition onto it. But it feels like when I tune into that, it's like, oh, that's fear is going to go. Like, oh, I'm going to hang on to it. And then like, you have to finally let go and work through it and do a breakthrough. You know, what's your take on it?
Absolutely, Kat. And you know, the extraction of fear itself is to understand what fear is about. It's the fear of fear itself. Because often time when I work with clients, believe me, I do about between 8 to 10 hours a day of healing work every day to help people and to accelerate the evolution process on the planet. So I work on that in that realm all the time. But the thing is that I always go back to understand, if you were to look at fear in front of you, what are you afraid the most of? And after time, the answer I get is, well, I'm just afraid. And I fear fear itself. So you have to decode the root source, what that fear energy, and even beyond that is the extraction of that fear matrix energy that has been coming into this third dimensional earth reality, this level of conscious mind personality matrix where fear energy became a part of every day. And what we mean by extraction is literally what I see in our holographic field. It's really, imagine taking on a grid and extracting it. It's like pulling weeds that has been interweaved around the roots of a tree, and you're extracting them so that the roots of that tree can breathe and expand into who the tree is, right, in its true nature. So fear, it's a contractive energy that retracts you into more primal response. Fight, flight, hiding, feeling disconnect from your guides. I don't get guidance anymore. I'm feeling disconnect from the light. It creates a veil that casts you into a sub-reality, and you stay there. But in reality, there's so much more happening around you. It's the best analogy I can give you is on a cloudy day, when it's rainy, clouds are gray, heavy, you can feel your mood retracted, right? But in reality, the sun never went anywhere. If you just move above the clouds in altitude and you reach altitude, you would say that the sun, the ray of light is still there bathing the earth. So it just casts that band of isolation around the earth that makes you feel that, oh, there's no sun today. We're retracted into that rainy energy. So fear has this quality of doing something very similar. So it brings you back into a contractive, more instinctual mind of reactions, feeling. And this is where your trigger points come to the surface the most. So the extraction of fear itself is to understand, where is it coming from? What is it really about? And one thing I like to use, and I'll use my Buddha ball here, it's one of the teachings from Buddha. Buddha says, bring in front of you like an object and look at fear for what it is. This is teaching you. What is this about for you? It may be something that a body was giving to you as a child by your ancestors, by mimicking behavioral patterns from others, old archetype, societal, planetary. Look at it for what it is and understand that there's so much more to you. And that's part of what we've come to do. We're here to help the earth, humanity, and all sentient life form to evolve. It's been how many generations have been pre-programmed into coexisting with an energy of fear? But beyond fear, what else there is? Can we coexist with the light instead?
If you would speak to the whole extraction of fear in the matrix, because we've talked about the matrix and Linda's shared her experience of being able to see the matrix around her. And so it's something I'm kind of coming to terms with and putting the pieces together, because we are in a holographic field, but at the same time, that just makes it feel like, when I say that, it makes it feel like, oh, but it's not real, it's a holographic field. But it's like, but it is real in a certain capacity, in a certain density. It is very real, it's important. Because I go, oh, holographic field doesn't matter, it's a holographic field, not real, disconnect. And so people want to get out of the matrix. And it's like, I'd like to get kind of the distinguishing points of like the energetic form that is holding us in an experience versus the matrix, which are the weeds trying to choke out the life inside of the expression. Does that make sense?
Completely, absolutely.
Okay.
And that's exactly part of the extraction we are referring to. It's because we can see that for so many thousands of years, so many generations, the human mind as an archetypal energy has been retracted to believe that they have to identify the physical senses, only believe what your eyes see, what you can feel, touch, reach, and to identify that, hey, we all agreed a long time ago that this is called a cup, and nobody defies it. What if I want to call it a divine conduit for liquid light? I can't. Right?
Use that now. Yeah. Good.
And so what I just did is shifting the profound archetype of what we identified as a cup. It's no longer abiding by that matrix. It's completely outside of it. So one of the things that we teach the most right now is allowing yourself to feel that you're walking in parallel to the matrix. People also tell me, well, you have to be practical, have to be functional. Yes, you can. But you can still maintain at the same time a higher level of consciousness. I pay my bill, believe me, electricity, Cox, with video, and I know how to function. I know how to be functional here. It doesn't mean I identify with the cup. I understand the molecular structure of the cup, and still I use it as a cup. You see the difference here? So the extraction of the fear, it's also a collective effort. If everyone consciously start to understand the inner mechanism of their being, the power of their mind, the power of projecting light, the quality of their frequencies, then it's like unplugging light on a tree, and you go, all the lights still get unplugged. The next thing you know, we are shifting the nature of the tree itself. And that's what we're doing. This is part of the awakening process. This is precisely what we are right now focusing on, helping everyone to understand, remember who you are in the profoundness of your being. Take the time to meditate, breathe to your heart, feel, understand that you're part of an amazing divine design. And so you're like reawakening. So many of you have already awaked, but you come back to descent so you can reascend. So in reality, we're reascending back to our true nature. And that is dissolving fear. Let me give you an analogy, if I may. It's not going to be a good one. let's say that you fall asleep and you go deep in a sleep, and it's a very agitated sleep. I mean, there's kicking and all kinds of things, and you feel despair, and somebody just out of the blue, you wake up all agitated. All you do is turn on the light. And the moment you turn on the light, you remain calm. You come back, you realize that you were simply dreaming, and you came back into another form of reality where you're in your room, all is well, your center safe, part of all there is, the light is on, everything else just dissipated. I know I'm being very simplified here, but it's an analogy I'm making. It's a figure of speech. So the more we turn on the light, that fear energy cannot coexist with the high frequency of the light. So it's a unification process. It's an invitation. We always says higher consciousness always invite lower consciousness to ascend. If you understand spiritually where you are you going to retract yourself into lower consciousness to please a friend or a family member? Or are you going to invite that friend to rise in their own ways? It's the same way. So whenever there's fear, it's not to be immune from fear. I understand it's a process. On a practical way, on a day-to-day, if you feel nervous or you contract into fear, right away my invitation, ground yourself back to your heart, breathe, and invite more light to come into your being. Let's bring light. Let's bring light into my mind, light into the situation. I bring myself back into what I call a sacred neutrality or 0 point. And let the light dissipate and allow yourself to shift your frequency. You start to be able to look at things differently. And that allows everyone to move through the energy of fear and recognizing what really that fear was about instead of being overwhelmed by it. And this is how we make change. And this is how we create change. That makes sense.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Did you have a question, Linda?
It was some of the things that I hear and deal with as an empath of really feeling that fear with another person and or the collective. Sometimes I get people that are like, I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm just overwhelmed with this. So any advice you have for people who either have loved ones or friends that are in deep fear, or that they're just picking it up as empaths to just maneuver in this world with that?
Absolutely. And as many people like yourself, myself, I am highly empathic. I'm even multidimensionally empathic. So I know exactly what it feels like. Oftentimes I wake up in the morning feeling the earth, almost like Gaia is sitting on my chest, on my heart. So I know that I am at that point when I re-enter this reality. I probably brought in a lot of energy with me that the collective has at that level. Some morning it's easier, and others it feel like I'm holding a ton of bricks on my chest. But one thing is important is to acknowledge right away, go into a state of acknowledgement. I feel overwhelmed right now. There's a lot of fear coming in. So number one is that look at the quality of your own energy field, because fear will contract your energy, your aura, and that's why everything is going to enter your core like an open door. So I would say, imagining closing the door, open your field, feel like you are expanding light frequency around you. Go back to the centerness of your heart. Feel the sacredness of what we call the gateway of your heart. It's your gateway of connection and consciousness. And ask, is this fear all belong to me? If not, I allow all this energy to be transmuted back to source and light, to be returned to higher octave of light. I always transmute fear energy back into octave of light. Always. I do that transmutation all the time. And then whoever I feel, including the planet, the process, loved ones, friends, it can be my neighbors, I honor them and remember to hold them in the highest level of light. And what I do is I see them in my third eye and the heart, And I invite everyone, remember you are divine light. Remember, this is a 3D experience. Remember, come back to your light. So I will invite through everyone's higher self and their heart center to bring them back into the space of light so they can center themselves and understand that what they're projecting right now, it's pure fear energy. So something has to either trigger on the planet, in the global consciousness, maybe an announcement, a change, something coming through, or it can be around you on a family level where they're going through that change, but they have no conscious understanding of what really is happening. And the first response will be to retract back to fear, because that's the thing, is humanity has been trained for generations to retract back to fear, to analyze or to handle something they don't understand or that seems to be foreign to them. The same thing with the ET, it's the same thing with the intergalactic groups. Human beings, Earth humans, have been trained and programmed to fear what is looking different from them. So if you're not humanoid, fear. That's another training that we are shifting. So all of this is a huge reversal of thought system that we are observing more and more. And those who are holding on to fear, that's because they're simply used to it. This is how they remember what to do. It's also part. So in that way, if they hold on to fear, just send them love and light. Let me give you an analogy. Analogy of a person walking on the street, and it's on a windy day. And the stronger the wind is, the more the person will hold on to their jacket, or they're going to retract onto themselves to push through the wind. But if the sun comes and warms their heart, their being, and the wind starts to dissipate, and instead it's a warmth of the sun, well, the first thing they do is to release their grip. They're going to be releasing, to holding on. They're going to go, oh, it's warm. I'm okay. I'm safe. Now I can continue walking. And it's a good analogy to look at it. It's really much that way, is that those who are deep in fear, then let's bring that warm, let's bathe them in the highest form of their light and talk to their inner being, so that like the wind, instead of blowing more wind to an attempt to get out of there, you simply bring the opposite spectrum, which invite them to open, letting go, release that grip. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's good. You hold the energy so very well when you talk about it. Now, I want to hop in real quick because we had you for an hour, and I don't know if you can stay longer to chat or if you must run away, but if you must run away, we respect your time limitation, and we can start to close up the show, but we'll have to have you on for a part 2. Can you hang out for any longer, or do you need to get going?
Thank you so much for asking and for respecting my time. I so appreciate it. I'm getting ready to teach a 2-hour class, so I'm going to keep going. That's the only reason why.
Okay.
For today.
But will you come back and be with us again?
It would be my pleasure.
Yay! Okay, we're all happy about that one. Talk about your retreat in Sedona.
Oh, that's right. So we are 4 amazing spiritual teachers coming together. Myself, my husband, Peter Benson, and our friends, Jamie and Maggie Clark. We're offering a wonderful higher dimensional frequency retreat called a Higher Self, the Bridge to Dimensional Consciousness. It's a retreat that will take place the first weekend of November, 4, 5, and 6, an amazing magical retreat center called the Sedonia Living Consciousness Center right in Sedona. We're going to be on the premise of many positive vortex of light, and we're going to do beyond quantum healing, higher self journey. This is a time to restore, bring all the soul fractals, heal, open a sacred map of your blueprint, and what is coming for you? What is your soul purpose? What's next on your journey? We're going to do some Qigong. We're going to work with the elementals. We're going to do some meditation on the property, talk with the vortex, communicate with the star beings, our family and beyond. It's going to be amazing. So it's already on my website. So I'm inviting you to check it out. And right now we're offering a discount. So take advantage of it for sure.
That's awesome. And her Vivian's links are down below, so you can click on those links and get that going for yourself. And then Vivian, do you have any, what's your final thought, your final word from your heart to ours?
That's exactly it. It is from our hearts to your heart that we have come. There's many of us on the planet. Many people play their role with us as historian, activators, healers. And just know that you're part of an incredible multiverse family of light. And we rejoice of seeing the earth human beings taking back their power, taking back their place of sovereign beings. You're more magnificent than you realize. And even beyond the time of Lemuria, in this golden era, you're finally shifting back into an era of peace and higher consciousness. And imagine a moment what you will be co-creating next. It's going to be amazing. So stay in your light, trust in yourself.
Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna flip this to gallery view. Vivian, if you need to hop off, feel free, but we're gonna do our gratitudes, and you do whatever you need to do, Miss Vivian. Okay, so much love and respect. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much love and respect.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely.
It was a gift.
We look forward to the next time.
Yes, thank you, Linda. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Kat. It will be my pleasure. I look forward to seeing you all because you are all four amazing human beings, but also soul of energy. And this is a pleasure, really much so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Just love your energy every time. Can feel it pouring in. You add so much to our group. Thank you for joining us. Be sure, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, to do so. And we'll continue conversations there, as I said before. Make sure you check out the links. Both links for Angela and Vivian are below. And if you haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button. If you haven't shared our show, share our show, even if it's a past one, with someone who wants to hear and needs to hear what we have to share. So again, love you all. We will see you next week. Kat, who's going to be here?
Well, next week, I'm actually attending the Ancient Civilizations Conference in Boulder, which I am the +1 to Brad Olson. But it was really lovely. It worked out really well. It was such a gift to be able to go. So what would you guys like to do? I would like to, my fantasy is, because I just get to go, right? Like, I'm like, ooh, I get to have a seat in the conference, but I would like to talk to people who are there. So maybe I could do some live streaming from the conference in terms of talking to anybody who's having a great time, and any presenters that'd be willing to chat with me between gigs. So let me know what you think below, but that's happening in Boulder next weekend. So that's where I will be. And so we're going to make up that show as we go. So sometimes it's how it works here. But with that, thank you, everyone. I love you so much. Fantastic show. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and we will see you, if not next week, in 2 weeks. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right.